Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crocheting Coffee here, and today we are doing a whip and chat. Whip stands for work in progress, so get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me as I continue to work on Sunflower Witch. Yes, I am dragging this one out because I do have another kit that I'm supposed to start when it gets here, so I'm trying to drag this one out until that other kit gets here, because if not, I'm going to be sitting here twiddling my thumbs until it gets here. So I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I will give you a heads up, if there's a lot of pausing in this video, it's due to the fact that I'm still getting over my cold. As you can tell, my voice sounds a little bit better. In videos this week, you might notice it's crackling a little bit. I am suffering from a cold right now, so I might sound a little stuffed up or like congested or whatever. Don't worry, I am fine. So how was you guys this weekend? I hope it went well. My weekend was something. It was something. So let's talk about it. So Saturday morning, I woke up and I wasn't feeling the best. I didn't really have a voice, and it was just squeaks and squonks, and Mr. Coffee's just kind of sitting there like, you okay? I'm not okay, sir, look, listen, I'm not okay. He's like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know what happened. Friday after I got off live, I noticed my throat started feeling scratchy, and then, or Thursday, I started noticing my throat felt scratchy. Friday after live, it felt really scratchy, and then the next morning I woke up, and I just didn't have a voice anymore. And so that's what Mr. Coffee calls the quiet weekend, and Maggie's like, Mommy, you need a doctor. I'm on it. Now, Maggie has this thing that she wants to be some kind of a doctor, but she wants to be a type of doctor that sees blood. So I'm like, well, pretty much all doctors, I would assume, see blood at some point. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you're a doctor, I mean, there are like other like proctologists, no, they probably see blood. Like, I'm pretty sure there's other doctors out there like that don't see blood. But she wants to be a doctor, so like she goes upstairs and gets her Doc McStuffin's doctor kit, and she puts a little thing on her head, and she has her little doctor's bag, and she goes, we need to check your temperature. We also are going to do a COVID test to make sure you're not positive. And I'm like, oh, sweet Lord. So I actually did take the COVID test because I wanted to make sure it wasn't COVID again, because y'all remember what happened to me last time. I was like, no, it's just a cold. Nope, COVID. So I was like, let me take this test real quick. Came back negative. So I was like, all right, I don't have COVID. I just have a cold. It's fine. It'll run its way through my system. I'll be fine. Maggie's like, until then, take this Tussin. I'm not drinking Tussin. Tussin! I'm not taking Tussin. I go call Pawpaw. No, you're not. She goes to pick up my phone, and I was like, you don't even know the passcode. And she goes, yes, I do. You gave it to me. I'm like, oh, good God. I got to remember that people don't have the same kind of junk memory that I have. So I was like, all right, let me take, like, I pretended like I took some of the Robitussin so she wouldn't call my dad, because I know, y'all know, if I tell my dad I'm sick, get the Tussin out. Son-in-law, get her the Tussin. Like, everything is Tussin, y'all. Tussin. I swear, I can't with Robitussin. I can't drink it. It's gross. So, every couple of hours, Maggie was like, and she was hanging with me this weekend, mostly because Orion was unavailable, okay? Orion has been in that room since Friday. He will come out like a scavenger for food, and that's it, because he has a bathroom in his room. So, water, he just goes to the faucet at his sink and just gets water. But everything else, like, he has the nerve to come down Saturday for, like, the first time since I had been awake. And he's like, you know, if I had a mini fridge up there, I wouldn't have to come downstairs. What the hell? I'm like, you lucky you got a computer, sir. Get out of my face. How about mini fridge? What the, like, no, we need to make sure that you're still alive up there. So we're not going to get you a mini fridge. And he's like, aw, all right. So he goes in the kitchen, gets something to eat. Maggie's like, all right, Mama, it's lunchtime. We got to build up those nutrients to fight off that nasty little bug you got there. Let me check your temperature. And I'm like, Maggie, please get away from me with the thermometer. So as I get time to finally sit down from Maggie and her incessive let me get the thermometer talk, I'm getting ready to, like, because Saturday I was supposed to start braiding my hair. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, let me figure out, like, how do I start this? Where do I, you know, kind of motivating myself to do it, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I finally have the motivation to do it. I get up, I go upstairs, I'm about to get in the shower to wash my hair, my phone rings, and I'm thinking, who the hell is this calling? I look over, it's my mom, and she's like, hey, you got them deductions ready yet? Now, when it comes to my deductions for my taxes, my mom will have me calculate them, and then we'll go over them whenever I'm done. The problem with this is, I don't like when she does this, because then she finds out what all I spent money on. And since she's like kind of like my tax person, I kind of have to tell her what I spent money on. And I show her the stack of papers I have to go through. And she's like, so you haven't gotten it done yet? She's trying to hurry up and get my taxes done because mines are worse than everybody else's. Everybody else's that she does just have a regular W-2, whereas I'm one of the few people that she does taxes for that has a 1099, which just means I have a small business. And YouTube, because YouTube doesn't take out taxes, I have to set money aside out of my YouTube checks to make sure I have enough to cover at the end of the year. Luckily, this year, I didn't need to cover anything because we actually ended up in the positive instead of the negative. So I was like, yay, for once in like the first time in like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I don't owe the government any money. I was so super happy to get that over with. But like the entire time I'm sitting there, Maggie's like, Mama, do you need help? I will help you calculate this. So she goes upstairs and she has this old school calculator, right? It's one of the accountant calculators. So when you press the numbers, it's like, and then it has like the little handle on it to make the paper print out. So she just is sitting there with my papers, and I have them stacked up in like order. So from where I've shopped at. So I have like DAC, Craft Ease, DIY Moon Shop, Etsy, Amazon, and all the other places that I shop at, right? So I'm sitting there, and I'm starting to calculate paperwork, and as I put it to the side, Maggie grabs it, and she goes, I'm going to just double check your work, Mama. Now, she doesn't know what number she's looking at, okay? This girl was calculating freaking the date. Like, she was adding the date together. Then in the next page, she would add one of the transactions that had nothing to do with diamond painting, and I'm like, you good over there, Tootsie? Because she's just a-going. Like, her 2 little fingers are just a-going, and she has a little handle, and she's pressing the handle to make the paper come out. And she's like, I got this, Mama. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you with taxes. I'm like, oh, Maggie, you're so helpful. The theme for this week is helpful, okay? So she's sitting there, and she's like, all right, Mama, it's been 2 hours. Let me take your temperature. Look, listen. I don't need you taking my temperature every 2 hours, Toots. I am fine. She's like, well, you weren't running a fever this morning, but what if you're running one now? We won't know if you don't let me check your temperature. So I was like, fine. The reason I don't like Maggie checking my temperature, okay? So imagine this is the thermometer and this is my head. We have one of the thermometers that you rub across your forehead and it gives you your temperature. Now, I don't have one of those, like, you know, heat thermometers that you shoot, like, that you point at something and you press a button and it tells you the heat of it. No. I have the slide across your forehead one because I have small children. So that's the one I got because the other one I didn't know was a thing. So I'm sitting there, and the reason I don't like it is because she then comes up to me with the thermometer, right? And she's like, bam! Like, she rubs it as hard as she can across my forehead, right? And she, like, then taps the side of my head, and I'm like, ow, Maggie, oh my God. And she's like, you don't have a fever. We should check your blood pressure. You do not want to check my blood pressure right now, because right now my blood pressure is up because you won't leave me alone. So I'm like, let me get back to this paperwork, Maggie, because I got to get my hair done. And she's like, all right, let's get back to work. That's right. We got to focus. So I get back to work, and I'm calculating up all this stuff for my mom, and she's calling to ask me, you know, how much longer is it going to be because I'm trying to get this done. And I'm like, I'm going as fast as I can. She goes, yeah, Nana, you got to be a little bit more patient with us. We're getting this as fast as we can. And my mom's like, what is she doing? Not a damn thing. She ain't doing nothing, okay? She's making a mess is what she's making. Because by the time I finish, now take it, this is a stack of papers, okay? By the time I finish calculating everything, one, it took me like 4 or 5 hours to calculate all my expenses. And by the time I'm done, look over, Maggie is just surrounded in a pile of paper. And she's like, I don't know if I can handle this, Mama. It's just so much paper. And I'm like, Maggie, you're not even, you know, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm helping you out. I got to verify that what you're saying is true, ma'am. I don't want to get audited. Now, Maggie knows, she doesn't know what audited means. She just knows that if something goes wrong with my taxes, we'll get audited. Because I think it happened last year where they had to verify some of my purchases or something. And she was like, I don't want them to have to audit us, so I'm going to double check your work. I know you're not good at math, Mama. I got you. Now, why y'all always messing with me? Y'all know I ain't good at math, but y'all ain't got to bring it up every time something comes with a number that has to be added together. I'm not slow. I can do, like, basic math. Like, I can count 2 numbers together, and I'm using a calculator. Like, what the hell? So she's like, don't worry. I got you. Thanks, Maggie. I'm glad you got my back. Now, Maggie, like I said, she hung out with me all weekend because Orion was in his room playing on his computer. the end. Like that's about as much as you're gonna hear about Orion for right now. So so I'm sitting there, I finally get it all tallied up. I give it to my mom. Now this is the reason why I don't like doing taxes with my mom. Okay? Like, do you do taxes with someone you know, or is it through a company? Because like the last time I went through H&R Block, we ended up having a lot of issues with stuff that they missed. We ended up owing a lot of money, and they didn't back us up at all. Like, they had that guarantee, like, you know, we screw up, we'll, you know, pay for the whatever. No, they lied. So I don't tax, like, I only let my mom do my taxes now. And I'm like, you can never die, because who's going to do my taxes? And she's like, I'm glad that when I die, that's the only thing you're worried about is who's going to do your taxes. I'm like, well, yeah, because everybody else would look at my taxes and go, I quit. You, on the other hand, is like, all right, I got this. So I'm like, I can't have you dying out here in these crafty streets. So put down the donut and get back to work. Like, for those of you who don't know, my mama got the diabetes. Okay, she got the diabetes. So, like, my mom don't take the best care of herself. And I can't have her out here in these streets with the high sugar. So I gotta be like, look, listen, put the donut down, get back to work. So I calculate all my stuff up. And I give it to my mom. And Maggie's like, our expenses are 1,700,000, 76 100s, 4 9s, and 26s. And my mom's just like, what did she just say? I'm like, Mom, look, listen, she don't know what she just said, okay? I don't know where she's getting these numbers. She goes, Mama spent 100,764 million. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. What? Why does the number keep getting bigger every time you say it? And she's like, Mom, you spent a lot of money. My mom looks at my tallies and everything, and she goes, you did spend a lot of money. What are you spending $500 on at Ashley's Furniture? And I'm like, my Nook. So for those of y'all who don't remember, when I first moved, I bought a new table for the craft room. And not the table I'm currently using. This is the table I got from my dad. But it's another table that the table I do unboxings on, the wood table. I bought that from Ashley's Furniture. It was on sale for $500. So I bought it because I was like, that would be perfect for unboxings. She goes, then why do you do unboxings in your bedroom? Look, listen, why we got to be minding my business, okay? Can we just do taxes? Like, do we have to fuss? Like, and this is the downside to her doing them. Where she does them and she does them correctly, that's great. But then I also get fussed at for the purchases I made that year. And like, when she saw the amount, like, okay, I'm gonna see if y'all can guess it in the comment section. So yeah, like my mom, she's like, I'm like, you guys would not even guess how much money I spent on Zox bracelets last year. My mom was just sitting there like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm like, Mom, look, listen, I'm a hand model, ma'am. And she's like, hand model? I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'm a hand model. And my dad pipes in, he's like, cause she does YouTube and you don't really see her face, so she just shows her hands. And she's like, oh. She's like, but then what does that have to do with your wrist? I'm like, well, they're going to see my wrist, so I got to like make sure they look good. And she's like, you're spending too much money, ma'am. Okay, yes, Mom, yes. Because if I say anything else, she'll hurt me, okay? Like, she's tiny, but she's ferocious. So it's just like, yes, Mom. Okay, I'll do better next year. I always tell her I'm going to do better next year, and next year is usually worse. So, you know, it is what it is. So I finally get off the phone with my mom after like an hour or two. Mr. Coffee goes to the store to grab some stuff for dinner. He makes dinner. We sit down, and that's like one of the first times Saturday that I saw Orion. And I took a picture of him, and somebody was like, well, why is it blurry? Because he's elusive, okay? Because he's been running nonstop through my house. Not even nonstop. Anytime he comes out of that bedroom, he's running. Now take it. The kids have bathrooms in their rooms. Not a flex, just for whatever. But he doesn't have to come out to go to the bathroom, but he does have to come out to get food, even though he thinks that he's getting a mini fridge put in there. That's not happening. And then, like, one of his friend's moms was trying to sit there and shame me for buying him a computer at his age. They're like, you would buy your son a whole PC computer just so he can play video games? Little Billy will never have a computer of his own like that because I think education is better than gaming. And I'm like, oh, you're one of those people. Okay. So I'm trying to explain to this lady, because this is like me picking up Orion from school, and I guess little Billy told his mom that he wants a gaming computer because Orion got one. And she was trying to shame me because, well, this was yesterday, by the way. She goes, well, why would you buy your child a gaming computer just to play more video games? look, listen, video games, one, teach them to do teamwork, okay? Because if you deep dive into the things, let me just have this little ranty spiel, okay? So video games, what my opinion on video games, now take it, these are my opinions. You might not agree, and that's okay. That's part of being human and life. My thing with video games is, one, I like the fact that my son plays video games. It gives him a creative outlet and gives him something to do to challenge his mind. My son is a very smart little boy, so I need something to keep him challenged, and video games do that. Now, is he out here playing Grand Theft Auto 5 where he's going into the strip club seeing titties? No. So, I don't mind that he plays video games. I don't mind that he plays online with his friends. Why? Because it teaches him teamwork. Teamwork is a big aspect of life because no matter what you do, you are going to more than likely have to do it in some sort of a team. Just like living with your spouse, taking care of your kids. Teamwork. You have to come out as a united front so your children don't take over your house. Teamwork. When it comes to like skills and stuff like that, he's learning all these different types of skills from the video game. The gaming computer was just a gift because this kid has brought home straight A's on his report card. And I felt that he needed something more challenging as he's getting older. Here's something, the older you get, we can buy you things like this to see if you can take care of them. Because like we bought him a cell phone. He took really good care of the cell phone. He wouldn't answer the dang thing though. Like people would call him and he'd be like, I don't want to talk to him. Ryan, you can't be like that. So, stop being like your mother. But I'm sitting there and I'm like trying to tell this lady, well, what little Billy wants and what Orion wants are two different things. I don't know little Billy to know what his grades are like, but I can guarantee you that Orion's grades are doing well. Like I don't have to worry about him and his schoolwork because he loves doing schoolwork. So I bought him a computer because I wanted to and because I could. Last time I checked, he was my kid and I'll do what I want with him. And so she was just like, that just seems like bad parenting. Well, let me be a bad parent and mind your damn business. How about that? Like, he has food to eat and clothes on his back. Leave him the hell alone. Anyways, moving right along. That really irritated me yesterday because that lady just comes out with her little her little stank Starbucks cup. And she's like, little Billy would never get a gaming computer at 11 years old. And I'm like, that's little Billy. That sounds like a little Billy problem. Like, sorry, little Billy, that your mom's an idiot. Anyways, moving right along. So, yeah, so we finished the tax stuff. Mr. Coffee cooks dinner. Orion comes down for dinner. And I'm like, you enjoying yourself up there? And he's like, yeah. And he starts eating, and he finishes eating. He doesn't even ask for a snack. Now, usually after the kids eat dinner, if they eat all their food, they can get a snack. And we have a cabinet full of snacks just for them. And, of course, they'll go over to the cabinet that's for me and Mr. Coffee and be like, can I have your snacks? I'm going to eat up your snacks first because they taste better because they're not mine, and then I'll eat mine. Anybody else have a house that runs like that? All right, moving right along. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right. So he eats his food. Me, Maggie, and Mr. Coffee are sitting at the table, and Maggie's like, all right, Mama, it's been a few minutes. We got to check your temperature. I'm like, okay. At this point, it had been 45 minutes, and I was like, it's been 45 minutes. I don't think I spiked the fever in 45 minutes. And she goes, Mom, fevers can come and go really quick. You should really keep on top of this. I'm like, Maggie, look, listen, I love you. I really do. But I'm going to hurt you, tiny human. I am going to hurt you. So here she comes again. Bam! Concussion. Like every time I had to have my temperature taken this weekend, I'm pretty sure I got a concussion. So it's just like, oh my God, the trauma to my scalp. I can't. And Mr. Coffee's like, well, she's just making sure she's taking care of you. I'm like, better than you, apparently, you jerk. Anyways, so Mr. Coffee's just laughing at me like he's watching me struggle, and he's just laughing at me. And Maggie's like, don't laugh at my patient. She's sensitive. What? No, I'm not. And she's like, yes, you are. Okay, apparently I'm sensitive. So for those of you who don't know, I'm sensitive. Just remember that. And so we finish up dinner. We clean up and everything. And Orion, like, after dinner, like, the person who cooks usually cleans up after themselves as they cook. So the dishwasher's already preloaded with dirty dishes. And all you have to do is, like, everybody has to add their dishes to the dishwasher. I'm trying to straighten this up here. So Maggie and me and Mr. Coffee add our dishes, and we go back and sit down. Mr. Coffee's like, all right, I got to go walk the dogs. It's been, like, 20 minutes after we had dinner. Maggie looks at me, and she goes, Mom, here's your blankie. I'm like, thank you. Because she had taken my blanket up to the back room here, and she likes to sit in my craft room and watch videos in the dark. I don't know why. And it's like weird little cooking videos. And I'm like, you know what? It's your world. Do your thing, boo-boo. So she'll come back here, but she took my heated blanket and brought it back here because it usually does get a little chillier back in the craft room. So she brought my heated blanket back here and sat back here for like, I don't know, a couple of minutes. And before she comes up front, I think, like I said, I think it was like 20 minutes. And she comes out of nowhere and she's just like, all right, Mom, time to take that temperature. Oh, good God. So it's like, all right, fine. Because I know if I just let her do it and get it over with, she won't be back at least for another 20, 30 minutes. So, of course, concussion. Boom. Okay, you're good. I'm like, Maggie, if I haven't ran a fever all day, I don't think I'm going to run one now, Tootsie. And she's like, you never know. All right, well, it's time for you to go to bed now. Like, it's time for you to go. Oh, my God, y'all. I had such a headache on Saturday. So I'm sitting there, and Mr. Coffee's like, yeah, let's stay up. Okay, you actually going to stay up with me this time? And he's like, well, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I go into Jeremy's live. I'm in Jeremy's live. I'm messing with Jeremy and people in chat and stuff. And I got a box in the mail Saturday. And for those that seen that box on Instagram, spoiler alert, it wasn't my custom. I had to contact Crafties about my custom because my tracking number isn't moving. And I don't know if it's just because they're not scanning it or what have you. I do know it's finicky when it comes to stuff coming from China. So I'm just like trying to be patient. But I'm like, I really want this Bev Bees diamond painting kit. Oh my God, let me get to it. Bev needs to be immortalized in diamonds. So I get out of Jeremy's live and I look over at Mr. Coffee because essentially when I'm in the live, essentially I have my headphones on, so I can't hear anything around me or anything, just because like he's playing with his brother and I don't want to hear him yelling at the TV because they got killed again. And I just look over at him every once in a while. I would just look over and be like, shoot better. Like I'll see that he died in the game and be like, shoot better. That was my payback for him not helping me when Maggie kept giving me concussions all day. So Jeremy finishes up with his live. I talk to him for a few minutes, and then I look over at Mr. Coffee sleep. And I'm like, God dang it. I'm like, look, listen, please wake up. Please, please. Look, I've already told y'all that Mr. Coffee is a complete dick whenever he falls asleep and I have to wake him up. So I don't like doing it. And my rule is now, because I'm built like a punched pillow, if you fall asleep downstairs on the weekend, that's where you sleep. Okay? That is now your bed, because I'm not waking you up. So I looked at him, I was like, hun, like, I'm not even joking, I was that low. I was like, hun, you gonna wake up? He said nothing. I was like, all right, peace out. I was like, I'm not staying up here or out here trying to wake you up for the next 4 hours. I'm not doing it. So I went upstairs and went to bed. Woke up the next morning, still felt like crap. And I was like, oh God, I feel like crap. But I had to hold it together, because if I don't, and I don't make it look like I look good, like I feel good, Maggie's gonna come at me with that thermometer. Y'all, I didn't even get out of bed. I'm sitting there contemplating life. I'm lingering in bed because I'm not ready for the day to start yet. Maggie comes in with a thermometer and her little Doc McStuffins like medical bag, and she's like, time to take that temperature, mama. Maggie, please, no, please, anything but that. And she comes over and she like, wham, right in the forehead. I'm like, oh God, oh Maggie, oh my God, I have a headache now. Y'all, I had the print of the thermometer on my forehead because she hit me so hard, okay? Oh, sorry, that's my doorbell. Somebody's walking in front of my door. But, so yeah, if you hear that noise, that just means that there's motion in front of my door. With that break-in, I had to turn the alarms and stuff back on so that it tells me to look at my phone whenever that goes off to make sure that there's nobody, like, coming up on my doorstep. Okay, now if you've gotten this far in the video, I need your help. So, I know, I completely changed topics. Like, I had to pause to sneeze, and then I was like, hold up, I'm gonna have them help me. So where did it go? So I'm trying to debate on what I want to do for her eyes. So I don't know if I want to use quad cubes. Oh, there they are. Do I use quad cubes or do I use rhinestones? Because like the quad cubes would look really cool, but the rhinestones would make it look cool too because you have multiple. But then I could use multiple rhinestone or quad cubes. What do you guys think? I'm not going to do her eyes until like maybe later on. So like you guys comment below, which one do you think? And if I used this is a starter pack I got from Tmall, okay? And she gave it to me to use, so I'm going to use it. But if I use the diamonds, it would be this color, because this seems closest. I want to say that, I think this is the one that Mr. Coffee picked up. He said this is the one that seems closest to that color. So, do I use regular rhinestones or quad cubes? You guys let me know. Like, I feel like I'm picking out outfits. Is it this one or is it this one? Like, you guys let me know, okay? So for until then, she's just going to have this blank stare. Because the other thing I thought of was doing all, like, okay, my brain goes like a million miles a minute when it comes to enhancing these kits. She's a witch, right? So what about if I gave her regular rhinestones? Like, just like the sparkly white ones, and make her eyes white out. Like, I love the artist's artwork, don't get me wrong. But if we did like a whiteout eye where it was just the regular rhinestones and then like the rest of it being how it is, what do you guys think? So we're gonna number them, okay? 1 for quad cubes, 2 for rhinestones, 3 for sparklers, okay? Y'all write that down in the comment section. Help us sister out. I appreciate it. Now, moving right along. So I get up Sunday. And I go downstairs, and unfortunately at this time, I don't have time to do my hair. Because what ends up happening is, because it takes so long to put the extensions in, I can't start it on a Sunday, because then I would have to finish it Monday and Tuesday, because of the way I have to, like, record videos, and now I have the Scentsy stuff that I'm doing. I have to manage all of that around doing my hair, and I wouldn't have time. And Saturday and Sundays are usually now my days off, where essentially I spend those days with the family. Because I'm new with the whole like Scentsy thing, I'll do stuff with that. But like for the most part, I will spend that time with the family, and that's all that I do. Looking for my next color. Here we go. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, all right, what do I got to do today? I got to set up posts. I got to do this. I got to do that. And Mr. Coffee's like, how you feeling? I'm like, I feel all right. So he brings me a cup of coffee. And I like it when my husband brings me coffee. Because, like, he doesn't know how to make it. But he'll bring me all the elements for me, like, to make it myself. And I'm just like, you're so sweet. Thank you. Like, I'm just sitting on the couch. And he's like, well, what did you want to do today? And I'm like, honestly, I don't really want to do anything. I just kind of want to sit here. And then here comes Maggie down the stairs. And she goes, Mom doesn't have a fever, so I think she's feeling better. And I'm like, yes, Dr. Maggie, I feel lots better because of you. Thank you. And she's like, you're welcome. And she's like, was it because of the concussions? I'm like, look, listen, we're not going to talk about the concussions, okay? Mommy feels better. That's all we need to know. And she's like, all right. So she comes downstairs. She goes, I'm still going to monitor you, though, so I'm going to hang out with you today. So we sat and we did... she had to decorate a Valentine's Day box for Valentine's Day on Monday. And so she was like asking me would I help her, and I was like, yeah, I can help you. Now take it. I still feel like absolute trash, okay? But I have to hold it together. If not, Dr. Maggie will come back and start smacking me in the head with thermometers again. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, let's decorate your box. So we're decorating her box. And she's scribbling and she's putting all kinds of weird stuff on there. And she's talking about Tommy. And I'm like, look, listen, if Tommy's going to live in our house, boo-boo, he better start paying some motherfucking bills, okay? Because I see him leaving your light on in your bedroom, and that electric bill's a little high right now. So I'm going to need Tommy to turn off the lights when he leaves your bedroom, okay? Like, tell Tommy to get it together or he can get out. And she's like, you're going to kick out Tommy? Now, look, listen, we're fussing about an imaginary friend that she has that doesn't even exist, and I'm ready to kick him out of my house because he's leaving lights on like he's trying to illuminate the world or something. And I'm like, look, listen, the way my bank account is set up, I can't have you out here leaving lights on, okay? My last electric bill was disrespectful, so I'm just like, yeah, Tommy needs to pay some bills or he need to get out, like, for real. If you don't know who Tommy is Maggie's imaginary friend. She talked about him in live on... what letter did I just do? I just did K. So this is a K. So I had, you know how when you pour drills out and you always have that one drill left over that didn't go into the bag? That's what I had going on just now. And then I need E. The sad part is when I get to diamond painting, that's when I get on a roll. The problem is I know I have that other kit that I'm supposed to be getting in any day now. And I'm supposed to do that one next. So I'm like, I don't want to powerhouse through this one because I have to start that other kit next. It'll be the first time in a long time that I get a kit that I start immediately. So, like, yeah. And don't worry, no, it's not a DAC. Calm down. Because somebody was like, Miss Coffee, when you going to do Ravenclaw? Look, listen, I will get to Ravenclaw, but I have other obligations right now. I do really want to work on that Ravenclaw kit. But I also got the witch from DIY Moonshop. Yeah, duh, this is the one I'm working on. I got the witch from this past weekend that they released. And I wasn't going to work on her immediately, but I did want to work on her in a timely fashion, because then at Halloween, I have all, like, my Halloween girls out. Like, I'm going to need some more. Like, I need to go over to Royal Diamond Painting, because I believe they still have Emmy Boz over there, and I want to get, like, some Halloween prints. I want to start changing up the diamond paintings and artwork in my craft room. I'm getting bored with them, so it's time to change them up. So I want to take them all down, and then, except for the ones behind me, the two bigger ones will stay up on the wall, but all the other ones will get rolled up. And for those wondering what I do with diamond paintings when I'm not using them on the wall, what ends up happening is I roll them up drill side out. So essentially, when you roll them up like this, and then I just put them into a box. So I'll roll like 3 or 4 of them together and then put it in a box, so it just stays in one place and stays away from dog fur, tiny hands, and all that other fun stuff. And in my case, ferrets. The ferrets don't seem at all interested in my diamond paintings, except for my pens. They will, like you will, every once in a while, I'll be sitting here and I'll see a ferret scurry across the floor with a pen, and I'm just like, what the hell? But for the most part, they don't seem interested in my diamonds, my canvas, anything else like that. They're more interested in the drill pins and my Zox bracelets. So I don't really have to worry about them too much. So what letter? We're going back to that I, because we have 2 eyes in her face. So yeah, so I'm hoping to get this little bit of a section done today. So let's talk about Valentine's Day real quick, because I can feel my voice getting scratchy, and I'm going to try to make this as long as I can to hit an hour. If I don't, again, I do apologize, but my throat is really sore. I'm eating cough drops over here like they're seriously like candy. So like, and I don't want to eat too many because I know they're not good for you. So one, thank you to Lisa for sending those out to us, because good God, have they been a godsend. There we go. See, there's like 7 colors in her face. There's like 7 colors in her face, and I'm just like, why do you have so many colors in your face? I mean, oh my goodness. But yeah, so let's talk about Valentine's Day. 1, answer this question for me. And before you say it, I know there are going to be people out there to be like, oh, well, why is it only one day we celebrate how we love our spouse? It's a holiday, folks. It's a holiday. It's kind of like a reminder to show your spouse love and care for that day, and that you should continue that every day. It's just a reminder. Don't take it too seriously, and don't get offended by the fact that like people are out here like, oh, he loves me, he bought me flowers. It's fine. Let people have their joy, okay? Anyways, do you and your spouse celebrate Valentine's Day? Now, me and Mr. Coffee do, but then we don't. We do because he gets me flowers, which is something he does randomly anyways. Not a brag, just part of the story. So he gets me flowers. But yesterday, I flipped the script, and I got my husband flowers, okay? Now, you're probably like, why would you buy your husband flowers? Why not, okay? He buys them for me, and so I was like, I'm going to buy them for him. So he bought red roses. I bought white roses. And we just put them together in the same flower pot. Or, I'm sorry, in the same vase. Or, I say vase, okay? I say vase. That's the word I was taught to say, vase. Do you say vase or vase? Answer that question. There's a lot of questions in here. Anyways, so I decided last night, and then one of the reasons why we don't celebrate Valentine's really is because we randomly will buy each other gifts if we see something that the other person would like. So if Mr. Coffee happens to be out or thinks about it, and like over Christmas, like he kept buying me the 10 of those Danish cookies that I love. And so like, if we find something that the other one will like, more likely we're just going to buy it anyways. So like, I'm just like, we don't really need to exchange gifts. Now, birthdays and Christmas, look, listen, yes, all day. Valentine's Day, Valentine's Day just means he gets an extra special dinner. So I decided that I was going to make his favorite, which is pot roast. So I went and got a pot roast. And they deceive you with these little pot roasts, because I got one of the kits. So it comes with like the onions, the potatoes, the carrots, the celery, the seasoning you put on it, which of course I use another pack of seasoning as well, and mix it all up so it's like soaking in its juices, okay? So that when you go to pull it out of the crock pot, there's no lifting it up because it just falls apart. It's so buttery. Anyways, so I made him an extra special dinner for dinner last night. But before that, I'm sitting here yesterday and I'm trying to get through videos because my throat is still bothering me yesterday. And I'm sitting here like, okay, I need to get these videos recorded. I usually record on Mondays and Tuesdays, which today is Tuesday. I usually record on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm looking for my next color. And so I'm like, I need to get these 2 videos recorded, or these 3 videos recorded for the week. So I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and just record because I'm going to go as long as my voice will allow it. Well, I got through 3 videos. I went to go sit down and do my whip and chat, and it was like, nope. God dang it. Anyways, that's why I have to record it on Tuesday. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right. So I record the videos that I got through yesterday. Then I started editing videos, and I had some Cincy stuff I had to do. And I walk the dogs, and I go to pick up the kids. Now, Maggie took her Halloween. Maggie took her Valentine's Day box to school, but Maggie also did something else kind of special. So if you've been on my Instagram or my Facebook page, Miss Crochet and Coffee, sorry, my brain. Over Christmas, you would have saw that Smitty Werben Jagerman Jensen. If you don't know who that is, we call him Smitty for short. He is our elf on the shelf. He bought the kids some boots. But not just any boots, because Orion's favorite type of boot is our Timberland boot. So he got some Timbos from Smitty for Christmas. And so we decided to also buy Maggie her first pair of real big girl boots, which she got a pair of pink Timberlands, which is not a color you see often, which is kind of funny too, because when I go visit my parents, whenever that is, whenever I go visit my parents, I'm going to take the kids up to my parents' house and have their boots with them so that they can take pictures with Pawpaw and my mom, because of course they have Timberland boots too. But my dad just got a pair of bright red, as he calls them, his Alabama Timberland boots. And I was just like, those things are fire engine red. Where the hell did you get those? Like, where did you find that? Timberland boots usually come in like camel, black, and gray. They don't usually come in pink and red. So I was like, where the hell did you find those? I don't know if they were a gift or what, but he had them on the other day and he was all happy about it. I was just like, okay, bet. So Maggie comes out of school and she has her box, and it seems like she's struggling to hold it because, you know, she's all of like 2 pounds. And so I go out and I help her with the box and I get her in the car and I'm like, are you good? And she's like, it's so heavy. I have so many boyfriends. And I'm like, hold up, what? She's like, I have so many boyfriends. And then right as she says it, some little boy walks by. Looks like he was in like 3rd or 4th grade. And he was just like, bye, Maggie. And like blows her a kiss. And I'm like, I like snatch the kiss and throw it back at him. Like, and keep that for yourself, buddy. And Maggie's like, Mom, my boyfriend. I'm like, that is not your boyfriend. What the hell are you talking about? She's like, I have so many boyfriends, Mom. Y'all, I'm not even joking you. Maggie had like 64 little Be My Valentines, here's some candy cards in this box, okay? I counted them. And these are the ones that she hadn't eaten by the time we got home, okay? And I'm like, where did you get all these? She's like, everybody sorry, I kind of skipped topics there. So we were talking about boots. Maggie for Christmas got a pair of pink Timberland boots that she refused to wear for fear that the kids at school would pick at her for having pink boots. Now take it, the boots that she was wearing were black and pink. Make it make sense. Anyways, so she lets me know that, like, because I asked her, you know, how was school? And she goes, oh, Mommy, it was so great. Everybody loved my boots. And I'm like, see, you were scared to wear them because you thought everybody was going to pick at you. When in reality, everybody loved your boots. And she goes, yeah, my teacher even loved them and said she has to get her a pair. She goes, I'm never not going to wear these boots. And I'm like, that's awesome. You'll stop wearing them when they stop fitting. But yeah, so she had a good day and she collected quite the Valentine's Day cards. And of course, there's little boys kissing at her now. And I'm just like, I don't like this. So we get over to Orion school and she's like, you know, I'm explaining to her why she can't have like 15 boyfriends. I'm like, I'm not raising trollops, okay? I'm not raising trollops. We're not doing that. If you know what a trollop is, you're part of the cool kid club. Anyways, so now we're going over to Orion school. I think that's where I stopped off. We're going over to Orion school to pick him up, and I'm explaining to Maggie that we're not, you know, raising thoughts and trollops in this house. So, yet no, she can't have 15 boyfriends. So we get up to Orion school, and we're sitting outside waiting. And I see Orion, but I see him talking to a little girl, and I'm like, uh-oh. What is this? Now, Orion's still at that stage where girls are gross, okay? I would like for him to stay at this stage as long as possible. But I know at some point he's going to have a girlfriend and stuff. But for right now, no. So I'm sitting there, and Maggie, I was still talking to her, and I see him, and I'm like still talking with her, but looking at Orion. And she's like, well, how old do I have to be before I can have a boyfriend? I'm like, when you're married. And she's like, oh, okay. So can I marry daddy? No, you can't. That's not how this works. And she's like, well, why not? You got to marry daddy. I'm like, I'm also not related to daddy. She goes, are you sure? I'm pretty positive that your father and I are not related, ma'am. Yeah, I'm pretty sure on that. I'm gonna say I'm 1,000% sure, Maury. Like, I'm not related to your dad. And she's like, well, it's not my fault I'm related to him. I'm like, stop trying to make excuses as to why you should marry your father. You're not marrying your father. Your father is already married to me, and that's how you got here. And she's like, all right, fine. I'll find my own boyfriend. I'm like, you don't need no boyfriend. At this point in time, I see Orion come out of the door, and there's 2 girls behind him. And I'm like, okay. I didn't think anything of it because they both were holding like balloons, and one little girl had a bear. And I was like, somebody had a good Valentine's Day. Well, then they all start walking towards my car. And I'm like, maybe the girls are going to their parents' house or their parents', vehicle, and their vehicle's parked over this way. Nay, I was wrong. They both were coming to my car. And they were both like laughing and giggling and like, I hope you have a great Valentine's Day, Orion. And he's like, thanks. And I was like, Orion, who are your friends? He goes, girls from school. And they introduced themselves to me, and I'm like, hi. Hello. Your son is really cute. I'm like, oh, yeah. And then she's like, he looks like Bruno Mars. And I'm like, oh, sweet Lord. And he's like, stop saying that. Orion hates it when people tell him he looks like Bruno Mars. I don't know why he doesn't like it. It's not untrue. He does resemble Bruno Mars a little bit. But he hates when people point it out. And I'm just like, well, they're just stating the obvious, dude. Like, this is a thing. And he's like, I know, but I don't want to be told that. And I'm like, well, what do you want to look like? And he's like, my dad. I'm like, oh, okay, well, you look like your dad, too, if it makes you feel better. Okay, see, one thing DIY Moon Shop is out of pocket for is the fact that they made O and Q the same color. So O and Q on this kit are both black with white letters. And so, and they're next to each other. So trying to decipher which is which, listen, they out of pocket for that. Anyways, so he gets into the car and the little girls give him his stuff, and he has the 2 balloons and the bear now. So I told him, let's put the balloons in the trunk so that they're not flying all through my face while I'm trying to drive. So he goes and he like crawls to the back, and the girls are just still sitting there like giggling, and I'm like, okay, you girls have a good day. They're like, bye, Miss Tepper, bye, Orion. He's like, bye. I'm like, Orion, why are you being so mean? He's like, I don't like girls. I'm like, do you like dudes? And he's like, no. I'm like, there's anything wrong with it. I'm just asking because the way you said you don't like girls is as if you would like dudes. And he's like, I don't like anyone. I don't like Valentine's Day. Ryan, he's never really liked Valentine's Day, to be honest. So I was just like, I know, dude, I know. So we go home, and I go, okay, I'm going to need you guys to help me out. We are going to clean up the house. Now, when I say we are going to clean up the house, what I meant was they're going to clean their rooms while staying out of my way so I can clean the downstairs. Because I didn't clean it that morning because I had videos to record, and I wanted to make sure that the house stayed clean until Mr. Coffee got home, because it's not shortly after the kids get home that Mr. Coffee gets home. So I was like, yeah, so we're just going to make sure that the house stays clean. So I'm going to have you guys go upstairs and clean your rooms. Now, Orion's room is already clean because you'd have to move out of one spot in the room to dirty it up. So his room was already clean. So he understood the assignment. He went up, he's like, all right, I'm on it. Maggie, on the other hand, was like, well, exactly how much cleaning do we have to do? And I'm like, well, nothing says I love you, honey, like a clean bedroom. And she's like, well, then you must not really like daddy. I'm like, why you say that? And she's like, because there's stuff all over your floor. Maggie, I was doing something, ma'am. Mind your business. And she's like, well, I'm just saying. And she walks away and goes to her room, closes the door. And I'm like, all right, whatever. As long as she's out of my way. So I commence to cleaning up the house and making dinner for Mr. Coffee. And Maggie comes down and she's like, oh, are you cooking? Can I help? And I'm like, sure. Now at this time, we done let the ferrets out of the cage and everything. And so the ferrets are running around and the dogs are laying all over the place. And so I'm having to step over dogs and watch out for ferrets as I'm trying to cook and everything. And Maggie's like, let me sniff this. Let me sniff this seasoning. Let me sniff that seasoning. What is this seasoning? Is this seasoning new? And by the time I got the roast into the oven or into the Instapot, she had smelled like all like 10 seasonings that I put on it. And she's like, well, what is this going to make it taste like? Well, what is this going to make it taste like? I'm like, Maggie, did you clean your room? No. Look, listen. If y'all ever see Maggie in these crafty streets, you remind her to go clean that room, okay? Because it ain't never going to get clean. So, that was our Valentine's Day. Mr. Coffee came home and we had a nice dinner. We sat up for a little bit, but not too late. We actually were in bed at a decent time last night, which makes me feel good because, like I said, I haven't been feeling the best. So sleep is key, and we actually got some sleep last night, so that's good. And then today, I don't think we have much going on today. Just because with Valentine's Day being over, and that's one of the things I like about cleaning the house, is I don't clean every day. Like, I don't have to most of the time because the kids aren't usually here long enough to dirty up anything. Like, I mean, except for Maggie. Maggie can dirty up anything in like 10 minutes. But for the most part, they're not here long enough to completely destroy the living room or anything like that. And usually when they get home, they're so tired and they're trying to stay awake. Like, they're fighting going to sleep. And so they'll find something to do. Like today, I think Maggie said that we're going to play a game. And I'm like, she said it just like that. We're going to play a game, Mom. Okay. Now, I have no clue what the hell this game is that she thinks that we're playing. But depending on what it is, yeah. Because the last time we tried playing a game together, she tried to get me to play like a horror game. And for those of you who don't know, I didn't say horror. I said horror. And Maggie likes all things horror. So she wants to play like Emily wants to play Five Nights at Freddy's. And I'm like, you're 9. No, ma'am. We're not doing that. But I will let her play them every once in a while. And I will sit and watch her. She doesn't even jump at the scary parts. Like, I'm up here jumping at animatronic toys. And she's just laughing and giggling at me. And she's like, I like to play this game in the dark. You, ma'am, are a nightmare human. That's what you are. You are a straight up nightmare human. So, yeah. So that was our weekend this weekend. Again, uneventful. Because it's not like we do a whole lot. And when we do a whole lot, I'm hoping that next weekend, though. I'm hoping that I can get my hair done next weekend. Just because it's starting to get warmer out. And by warmer, I mean it's out of the negatives. Like, we're still getting cold weather. Like, right now, currently, it's 18 degrees. We're still getting cold weather. But it's not as drastic as it was that 1 week. So where it was like negative 20s and 30s to 50s. So like, we're still getting cold weather, but it's starting to warm up a little bit. And so I want to do my hair so that when it does start getting warm outside, that's one less thing on top of my head. Because having it braided is a lot cooler than having it just in the normal little afro that I keep it in. So yeah. But I think I'm going to stop it there, you guys. Again, I'm really sorry. My throat is really bothering me now, and I don't want to lose my voice any more than I already have. So I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching. It's always nice when you come and chit-chat with Miss Coffee. And we know you were talking to the screen. We both know these. These are things we know. But with that said, folks, again, I have to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to stay caffeinated, stay crafty, stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face in public, keep your 6 feet, and always try. Be kind, be courteous, be cool. Bye, guys.